The Chiefs just absolutely dominated the Las Vegas Raiders at Arrowhead Stadium by the final score of 31-0. And with this win, the Chiefs advance to 4-3 on the season, and the Raiders fall to 2-5, essentially ending their season after that just abysmal performance in front of the entire world. The Raiders were god-awful. They were dog shit in this game. The Chiefs went bell to ass for 4 full quarters with Rashee Rice back on the field. Everybody's got to eat, and everybody ate. I'm stuffed right now after watching that game. I mean, that was a complete domination by this Chiefs offense and the Chiefs defense in this game. I want to go ahead and pull this up because I was absolutely floored when I saw this after the game. The Raiders had 3 first downs in this game. 3 first downs over an entire 60 full minutes of football. They were able to muster 3 first downs. They moved the chains 3 times. And on 2 of those, they came from passing first downs. 1 of them came from penalties. So they really only got 2 first downs in this game, moving the ball on offense. The Chiefs, of course, had 30 first downs in this game, 16 passing, 12 rushing. They also had 2 first downs from penalties, but just the third down efficiency, the Chiefs were 9 of 15. The Raiders were 0 for 7. On 4th down, the Raiders were 0 and 1. The Chiefs were 1 for 2. I mean, total plays. The Chiefs ran over double the plays the Raiders did. They ran 77 plays in this game to the Raiders' 30. Total yards. The Raiders in this game had 95 total yards of offense. Are you kidding me? This is an NFL football game with players that get paid to do this for a living. They couldn't get 100 yards of offense in this game. The Chiefs had 434 yards of total offense. I mean, I can't even comprehend how poorly the Raiders played in this game. The Chiefs had 9 total drives. The Raiders had more drives, had fewer first downs by times, what was it? By 28? 27? They also had, fewer first downs. They couldn't convert on 3rd down. I mean, it was just a complete snooze fest from the Raiders at noon. And, that was something that the Chiefs talked about a lot this week in the pressers, that these noon games, you got to get up for them. Usually the Chiefs are playing at 3 o'clock or prime time on Sunday night or Monday night. And so they're not used to playing in the noon time slot. They looked okay, guys. They looked just fine. And I want to go ahead and pull up the Chiefs offensive stats in this game. And just for shits and giggles, I put on the Raiders passing stats in this game. Patrick Mahomes was 26 of 35 for 286 and 3 touchdowns. He was absolutely magnificent today. Geno Smith, man. Geno Smith, who got benched later on in this game, was 10 of 16 for 67 yards. And then Kenny Pickett was 2 of 2 for 8 yards, but he also fumbled the ball that Jerry Tillery fell on, and the Chiefs ended up just running out the game. So as a team, the Raiders were 12 of 18 for 70 yards passing. I don't even know how to say. I genuinely can't even fathom that the Raiders, who didn't run the ball effectively either, were only able to muster 95 yards of total offense in this game. So that means that rushing the ball, they were only to gather 25 yards. They ran the ball and only gained 25 yards on the ground. I can't even comprehend that. That is unbelievable. And honestly, after that kind of performance, somebody's got to get fired. Somebody's got to get fired. Somebody's got to get benched. That was one of the worst performances in the NFL in the past decade. Going ahead and looking at the rushing stats in this game, Isaiah Pacheco had 15 carries for 57 yards. He also had a touchdown on the ground, his first rushing touchdown this year. Brashard Smith had 14 carries for 39 yards. He was able to get a lot of reps in the late 3rd quarter and 4th quarter because guess what? The Chiefs benched their starting quarterback. They benched Patrick Mahomes at the end of the 3rd quarter. Gardner Minshew came in, played an entire quarter, and didn't even try to complete a pass. So they just ran the ball using Brashard Smith, and he was effective in moments today. Patrick Mahomes had 4 carries for 28 yards for a couple big-time first downs. Kareem Hunt had 4 for 18. Xavier Worthy had 1 for 13 on that end around. And Gardner Minshew had 3 yards or 3 carries for negative 3 yards because they just kneeled the ball down. So the Chiefs' rushing attack was good in this game. They carried the ball 41 times as a team, got 1 touchdown, and ran for 152 yards. You're going to take that. And going ahead and looking at the Chiefs' receiving stats in this game, Travis Kelce led all receivers, 3 receptions for 54 yards. Rashee Rice, in his first game back in over a year, had 7 catches for 42 yards and 2 touchdowns. He led the team in receiving with receptions. Obviously, Kelce led them in yards, but Rashee Rice came back right away and had a huge impact on this game. Brashard Smith was the Chiefs' 3rd leading receiver, 5 catches for 42 yards, and his longest was that 17-yard, I believe it was the screen pass where he just got upfield and went. Tyquan Thornton had 1 catch for 39 yards. Juju Smith-Schuster had 3 for 35. Xavier Worthy also had 3 for 35, and he left the game with a shoulder injury. He did come back, but that was that play where the Raiders' defensive back ended up, I think it was illegal contact, and Worthy fell down, got up, and then made a jump ball contested catch for the first down. But Worthy came back into the game, so hopefully that shoulder injury isn't too concerning. Noah Gray had 1 catch for 28 yards. Hollywood Brown had 2 catches for 14, including a touchdown pass that he caught. And then Isaiah Pacheco had 1 catch for negative 3 yards. So as a team, the Chiefs had 286 yards receiving and 3 receiving touchdowns. They looked really good in this game. I mean, who didn't look good in this game? The Chiefs' offense was on the field for the majority of this game, and you saw, guys like Drew Tranquill and Jalen Watson have to stretch on the sideline because the defense was getting cold due to how much the offense was on the field. So the Chiefs were so dominant in this game, just offensively, the defense really didn't have to go out there all that much. And you saw Chris Jones get to the quarterback. You saw George Karlaftis, Charles Omenihu. That Raiders offensive line is horrible. That's to be expected. But they went out there and held the Raiders scoreless. This was the first time that Andy Reid has pitched a shutout in his coaching career in the regular season, which I know is kind of insane and hard to believe, but he was on his game today. And Steve Spagnuolo called up the perfect game plan. I think more of this, though, is that the Chiefs' offense was so successful that right away, it put the Raiders on their heels. And in fact, they scored on their first 4 offensive drives. It resulted in a touchdown. And then that 5th offensive drive, Harrison Butker kicked the field goal, and that would be all the scoring that we would see today. But they even said it on the broadcast that, at least the Raiders got to stop because that's how dominant the Chiefs' offense was, that even holding them to a field goal was their defense doing a good job. And I can't even remember a time where most of the starters are out after the 3rd quarter. I mean, Patrick Mahomes left this game with like 8 seconds left in the 3rd. That's how dominant they were. And so I want to hear from you guys down in the comment section below. How are you feeling after this absolute ass kicking of the Las Vegas Raiders by the score of 31-0? Again, this was the first shutout of Andy Reid's career in the regular season. I can't even fathom how bad the Raiders played. I mean, at a certain point, it almost looked like we were watching a college team out there. And I understand they didn't have Jacoby Myers, they didn't have Brock Bowers, but they had Ashton Genty. And this team wasn't good coming into this game. And I think after this game, they kept saying it on the broadcast, that film is going to be rough to watch. I do not envy, Pete Carroll and this coaching staff, in Monday's meetings. That is not going to be fun for the players. It's not going to be fun for the coaches. They got their butt kicked. Plain and simple, there's really no other way to describe it. And I think, for the Chiefs, this continues to build on the momentum that they built the past couple of weeks against Detroit, against Baltimore, against Jacksonville. This offense is back. And I want to talk about this after the break. The Chiefs' offense is doing something that they haven't done in over 2 years. And I'll talk about that right after a word from our fantastic sponsors. This video is sponsored by my friends over at DM Injury Law. Injured in an accident, you could be entitled to significant compensation, but time is critical. Rely on the experienced personal injury attorneys at DM Law, Kansas City and Missouri's top injury law firm. DM Law is a full-service personal injury practice supported by a large team of investigators, case managers, medical records specialists, and more. And best of all, you don't pay unless they win. DM Law operates on a contingency fee basis, meaning no fees unless they win your case. And they also provide free consultations. So if you've been injured, don't wait. You can contact DM Law today for a free consultation and learn how they can help you pursue the compensation you deserve. Let them handle the fight while you focus on healing. Hurt in a car wreck? Call Mike. Remember, Mike's got this. The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisement. Thanks to DM Injury Law for sponsoring this video. Huge thanks to the sponsors that have supported me and this channel all football season long. Now, getting back into this Chiefs postgame show, again, the Chiefs just absolutely destroyed the Raiders at home by the score of 31-0. And my main takeaway on offense is that the Chiefs' offense is fun to watch again. Like, you could even just see it out there on the field. These guys are having fun playing the game. Like, last year, it kind of seemed like, yeah, they were winning games, but the offense was struggling. And even in some of those close one-score wins, Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid, Travis Kelce, they weren't really happy with the offensive execution. And I think it ultimately ended up kind of biting them. But I do think that, you know, you're seeing them out there on the field having fun. Rashee Rice, Xavier Worthy, Hollywood Brown. This was the first game that all three of those guys have been out there, and it made a difference. And I think this was the Chiefs' offensive philosophy going into this season. If we could just have these three guys on the field at the same time, we're going to be okay. And this team views Rashee Rice as a top 10 wide receiver in the league. And if that's what he's doing in his first game back in over a year, goodness gracious. I wonder what he's going to do 2 weeks from now, you know, against the Buffalo Bills. So I think that this offense is clicking. They're firing on all cylinders. The defense, again, pitched a shutout today, which is extremely hard to do regardless of the opponent. But, you know, Tony Romo and Jim Nantz mentioned it on the broadcast. This was one of, if not the worst football performances in the last 25 years. The Raiders were bad. They were historically bad in this game. And I'm not trying to take away from the Chiefs, you know, ass kicking, but when you're playing a team like that doesn't even really deserve to be out there on the field with you, that's the result you're going to get. But at the same time, how many games last year did the Chiefs not put away a bad opponent? A lot, most of them. And so the fact they went out there on a noontime slot when they don't normally play that early on Sunday and just, again, beat the brakes off a divisional opponent, you're going to take that. You're going to take that 10 times out of 10. So I want to hear from you guys down in the comment section below. How are you feeling after this domination from the Chiefs at Arrowhead Stadium? I want to hear from you guys down in the comment section below. That's all I've got for this post-game show. Hit that like button, subscribe for more daily Chiefs content. Until next time, guys, thank you for watching this video. And as always, go Chiefs.